The Emperor has foreseen a new threat rising against him. The Podwans Podcast.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Podwans Podcast. We're here to talk a little bit more about the Skeleton Crew as we got the third episode on Tuesday. I've had a chance to watch it. Everyone here has seen the episode. So spoilers, if you haven't seen it, go watch another podcast. The Game Awards is streaming right now. You could go watch that. I might turn around if Titanfall 3 gets announced. But I am here with a bunch of great people. So I'm excited to talk about this episode. A lot of things happened in the episode, and it was a short episode, which we'll get into because I have a lot of thoughts on how long the episode was and how good it was as well. But I'm here.
Wait, hold on. Did you just say that you want to talk about episode length?
I do.
Character development?
No, because I stand by exactly how I have felt, and this episode justified. This episode justified exactly.
Well, we gotta bring them in. We gotta bring them in first and make them feel like Chase is gonna go one way, and then they go the other way.
No,
See,
absolutely not. But hi, Luke. How are you doing? It's been a minute.
Oh, it's been a while.
Well, it's only been like a week.
I am great. How is everyone else? Happy War of the Rohirrim week.
Yeah,
that's really what we're talking about. TBH.
Oh no, not I mean.
I love
another discussion.
Hey, I haven't been on. Hey, Hereth, would you let me speak about Skeleton Crew? Because that's what we're here to talk about. Okay, I have absolutely loved Skeleton Crew. It's been a breath of fresh air from a lot of the content that we've been getting. And to be honest, haven't seen a whole lot of hate on it. It's because it's not catered to the people that always complain about Star Wars being bad. So it's kind of weird when they don't have anything to bitch about because it's not for them, but they can't take the hint that it's still not for them.
They'll find stuff, but they usually get shut down pretty quickly on when it's the nonsense. Like it's one of those things, like if there's a collective conscious that the thing is not terrible, then like it gets shut down and they just have to find something else to be upset about, rumors and all that stuff. But, but Hereth, how are you doing today? It's this evening.
It's the evening. Just like Chase ourselves, we were watching the Game Awards before we were getting in here. Now Chase is turning around to see if anything's going on there.
Some musical performance.
No, who gives a shit? But I've been pretty good. But yeah, I'll get into my thoughts on the Skeleton Crew because my opinion has changed for the better.
Well, that's good.
Ooh, look at that.
Well, that's good to hear.
I know.
Yeah, because I know you were saying it was woke trash and DEI and Disney's.
No, I didn't
Wars. But we've got two guests. We've got a returning. We got two returning guests, I believe. Yeah.
At one point.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to see. It's good to see people coming back. We've got Sean Kenobi. How are you doing?
Hello there. Doing well, guys. It's been a while since I've been on the show. But glad to be back, getting on some podcasts and talk about Star Wars. So excited to talk episode 3 with you guys.
Heck yeah. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we're getting to talk about this show. I'm glad that, kind of like what Luke said, I'm glad we're not having to fight through discourse to talk about this show. Like that's so relaxing. But we also have Chad, Wolf of Low Street. How you doing? You've been crushing it on TikTok Live recently, so
it's been a while. It's been a while. I feel like
it's been a whole week.
So long, whole week. No, I'm excited to talk about the show too. I feel very vindicated in a way, and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit, I imagine. But yeah, excited about the show. I thought it was another good, solid episode. I gave it a 8.5, so I really enjoyed this one. It's my favorite one by far.
Nice. Yeah, I really liked it. I thought there's a lot to go over with this episode, and it wasn't very long. So let's just jump into it. Who thinks Jod was a Jedi at one point? Now that we know a little bit more about his character,
at least he was. At least he was.
Was a Jedi?
Okay. Yeah,
at least.
I'm still kind of
think he is.
I'm saying no. I don't think he was Jedi.
Yeah.
I think he just knows how to use the Force. I think he figured it out. I think he one of those like I think that maybe it's a little bit of wishful thinking that they're finally going to give us the character that knows how to use the Force and has nothing to do with the Jedi or the Sith. And it's just like, yeah, I figured it out at a young age. Just honed in on it, and then I became a pirate due to circumstances. So
I feel like it's just enough to get by too. Not
yeah. He's
Mhm.
he's lifted the key with his hand, and he's done the Obi-Wan make a noise over there, and
Yeah.
little tricks.
And he also turned down the lighting in a more ambiance manner.
Yeah,
So the
he
kids
pressed
could
the
see
button.
better.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
If Lando had the Force,
it's these little moments. We're not seeing him like lift massive things. We're not seeing him. It seems like he has a lightsaber in the trailer. Where did he get the lightsaber? Was it his lightsaber? We don't know. Could it be a bait and switch where that was edited for the trailer? I don't know. Like I'm on the fence. I leaning more towards I don't think so. I think he's just got the Force. But I like his character, and I'm happy to say, and I'm fine to say I was wrong. He is 100% Captain Silvo. I was thinking they were trying to give us a MacGuffin there. But no, like I'm starting to like Jod's character a lot. He seems very, very interesting in a lot of ways. We clearly can't trust him, but we want to trust him. Like
it's a very Long John Silver kind of feel.
Yeah,
he's got those likable qualities, but he's got some.
He's gonna do he's gonna do something wrong. He's going to screw up big time, and he's gonna have to make it up.
And I feel like the thing that best emphasized it was the kids peer pressuring him into saving SM-33, and like you're a Jedi, right? You're gonna do this for us, right? And he was like, fine. I love like the whole like atmosphere and tension of him being like, well, you said you were a Jedi, right? You're gonna do this for us because we're not leaving the ship.
They're more like actual guidelines than rules.
Yeah, and it's moments like that. Like he does say later on in the episode, he's like, when like, oh yeah, you're a Jedi. He's like, I never actually said that I was a Jedi. Like I think he's being truthful there. Like he was not a Jedi.
I think that's just I think that's just a deflection.
It could be.
I just think it's an Obi-Wan from a certain point of view thing, or he was a Jedi at some point, but he doesn't see himself as a Jedi.
That's completely plausible. Like I'm not saying when I say I think he is a Jedi, I just mean I think he is still. He's obviously he can use the Force. I think he is at some point going to find or go back to get his lightsaber. I think that was one of the reasons that he was kind of, and this could just be me reaching, but I feel like that was kind of what was going through his head when he was kind of looking at that skeleton that was in the wall, and he was kind of like looking at the dagger, and that's why he took the dagger, because I feel like he feels like something's missing from him. After these kids have been, calling him a Jedi after all this time. But I mean, he obviously uses the Force. I don't believe these are hidden tricks that he's doing like they're describing in the show. He's legitimately using the Force. And Chase, I know you're saying that he's doing it, yes, but he's doing it under the guise of just a Force user. I feel like they're setting him up to, as you said, like betray the children at some point, or like let them down, and then he has this big awakening, and he's like, you know what, I want to be a Jedi again, and he puts back on his Jedi aura, or cloak, and he gets his lightsaber out, and it's gonna be green, and it's gonna be cool, and yeah, I think he's a Jedi.
It's gonna be green.
Here's a theory.
Statement.
Here's
my theory. It's my favorite lightsaber color.
Here's a theory.
Oh no.
You could say a Star Wars theory. Anyway.
Good, but
I think what if he is one of the kids from the lightsaber arc?
I don't
I've
think
heard
so.
that before.
I don't think
I've
so.
heard
I
that
think
theory
I
before.
think
Why?
after this
Why not?
episode, I think after this
Do
episode,
you not like having interconnectiveness, Chase? And
I
not
don't mind it. I don't mind it, but I think that
That's what you did there.
I know.
Jude Law said that he has a character with many names. I do think his name is Jod. I think that is his name.
Okay.
I think Captain or Crimson Jack and Captain Silvo and Jod are the names he has had.
Okay.
Yeah, I think those two are. I agree. Those are aliases for sure.
No, they're definitely aliases, but I think those are the only aliases we're gonna get. I think that part of it is kind of already come to pass. I will say this, like, I was not anticipating this type of character from Jude Law. This very snarky, I'm gonna do what I want. Like, this is now, this is my operation. I'm only gonna go along with this. Like, he's a smart ass. He's got quips. He's got one-liners. I really like where it was going, because like it really felt like he was going, like when it was promoted, like he was going to be a Jedi, and like we didn't really see a lot of his character or like speaking that much in the trailers, and it was like he kind of seemed like he was like a Jedi type character, but he's very much not, which I think is really cool. I think he's doing a great job with it.
What if he's Kyle Katarn?
What if he's who?
Kyle Katarn.
He is not. I think he is Jod. I think he is a new character.
I'm more in the camp of I'm hoping they're going to continue with the theme of, anybody can be a Jedi, anybody can use the Force, that we've been seeing in the sequel trilogy and with Sabine and Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're trying to open that up more for sure, and I think it makes him more interesting. Like that we're finding not to shit on Luke here, but that we're finding more about him and like finding more about his character versus who he could be, I think is a little more interesting. Because I think we could find aspects of him, like maybe he was a Jedi, maybe he wasn't. I think you could take it both directions. Again, I think him not being a Jedi is a little more wishful thinking on my end of like, I don't want another Order 66 story.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. You're just like trying to like write any scenario where it's not that.
Yeah, where it's like the dude just knows how to use the Force. Like he comes from a world that like it wasn't uncommon, anything like that. But I like his character a lot. But the other thing, kind of with Ad-Adin, now that they're trying to get to Ad-Adin, my prediction of the village 100% came true. I'm super pumped on that I got that right. That they do not know what's going on. They're not actually part of the Republic. But
yeah,
the one thing that I was wrong about was this is the old Republic they're talking about. This is not prequels era old Republic. This is the old Republic, which I'm glad I'm wrong on that one, because when they really started getting deep into the lore there, I was like, oh, this is cool. This is really cool. We're actually in the old Republic stuff. I love this.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling about that, and I can't remember whose video I commented under, but like, here's something interesting to think about, like, for it not to be the High Republic, like the High Republic, the Sith weren't they weren't a thing, right?
Yeah.
So the only way that it made sense with Wim's little clicky book that he's going through talking about the Jedi and the Sith is if it was the old Republic where the Sith were very prevalent. So that's what kind of had my ears perk up when I heard that. And then they called the Dactaries Old Republic credits, which is like Old Republic, like old Republic. Like before everything kind of Old Republic. Like I was very excited to hear that.
Yeah, I think that the scene that they had with Kim on that moon, which also like the moon that they went to, like that was such an like all of those shots walking up to the moon, gorgeous. Like with the gas giant in the background, like
the cinematographer was in his bag.
Yeah,
he was
like,
cooking.
this episode. It was really good in a lot of these shots. But yeah, like having Kim kind of like very much confirm like you guys are from the Old Republic. Like, and I love the line of like, well, we learned about Coruscant and Alderaan, and she just says, "You missed the war, didn't you?"
What war?
Yeah, like.
Yeah, and which war are they talking about? Are they talking about all of them?
Oh, they're talking about she was very distinctly referring to the Galactic Civil War. Because she says, Alderaan, you missed the war, didn't you? Like as in the war that blew up in. But yeah, I mean, Luke, you're right. Like, how many wars did they not know about?
Yeah, like
they probably missed the Clone Wars.
I think they missed the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
yeah, because if you look at the credits. Specifically like the ones that Wim's dad gives him, those are Old Republic credits. Like not even Galactic Republic credits. Old Republic credits. Like that's significant because like they tried to pay with it and they're like Old Republic credits. Like they're not talking about the Galactic Republic of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So
well, I think we talked about that a little bit last week, where like there was a potential for that to be the case, where it's like that's just kind of how people would probably talk about it. But they very much confirmed it this episode of
absolutely.
This is the Old Republic.
Yeah.
And then I love how they confirmed, like we knew before the show because of John Watts talking about it, but I love how they confirmed, like, oh yeah, this is one of the core staple planets during the Old Republic era. Like,
well, and it's also, I mean, if you look at all the comic or all of the books or the on his holopad, it's very much glorifying the Jedi, but it's not a specific Jedi. I feel like a lot of the children in this era of Star Wars would hear about Luke Skywalker, and it would be prevalent, and a lot of the stories would have his name attached to it, whereas it's not named, it's just a Jedi and then a Sith. And that wasn't that, like, it's more catered to that. I think that's what has my theory going, that it's very much they're very, very, very secluded. Don't know when it happened.
When do you think it happened? When do you think the split from the Republic, or from not the Republic, just from the outside galaxy?
It wouldn't surprise me if they tried, or if they did relate it back to the High Republic, because the only reason I say that is because the Nihil right now are using the wall
or similar barrier
technology. Yeah. The
inclusion zone.
And I feel like after that traumatized a whole bunch of planets, they're like, the outside galaxy just doesn't seem like it's for us. And the higher ups of the planet just decided, hey, let's put everyone in an infinite Tsukinome and just make sure everything is okay. And I think that's what's happened. What, Chase? What is it?
I'm just looking. I'm listening.
So that Aten being kind of like hidden by some sort of nebula or nebulous cloud got me thinking about the new Lasat homeworld that Zeb discovered with Callus.
Lasat.
And
Lasat.
it just made me think of the similarities between the two, and like possibly could that world also be one of these hidden worlds, or was it also destroyed?
Yeah.
To me, I didn't go Lasat. My brain immediately went, weirdly enough, Exegol and Rise of Skywalker, when the Kylo's like flying around like the nebulous.
Yeah, I mean, but like here's the other thing. Like it could be in the unknown regions. Like this planet, the planet from Ahsoka, Exegol, they could all be part of a different galaxy.
And also the planet from Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Because that was hidden. in a Nebula 2.
Do we think that Tanalorr is part of the 9 planets that were in the map or the scroll that Kim gives them?
That's an interesting.
Yeah, because
Question.
they do say that it's a bunch of ancient.
Because they call it the 9 jewels of the Republic.
Yeah, where they were hidden away because of their resources.
Interesting.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So could this be? I'm just throwing it out there. Could this be? We've got Ad-Aden. We know that one. We could have Tanalorr. We could have Rakata Prime. We could have something like Taurus.
Exegol could be in there because the ancient world of the Sith.
Well, if it's Jewel of the Republic, I'm going to say no.
Yeah. The Jewel of the Republic is the home world of the Sith. Awesome idea, guys.
Yeah.
Really swinging for the park here.
Yeah, Exegol is definitely not included.
Exegol is an unknown region. I think that these are just, and I guess the way to look at it, right, is the galaxy we assume is quintillions of stars, and there's hyperspace lanes that go specifically to certain stars. So, like, in the same way that Camino isn't like in the unknown regions, it was just removed from star charts and galaxy maps. Like, it's still there. It's just like because the galaxy's so big, like you will obviously just miss it. So my assumption is that they're probably mid-rim worlds, maybe some core worlds. Oh, did we lose Sean? We lost Sean.
I was gonna say mid-rim because of the whole when they confirmed that Phase 2 in the High Republic that the outer rim like push didn't start happening until about 400 BBY. I think that makes sense that it'd be mid-rim because it would have to be a planet that was kind of a core staple of that era.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
But if it's being...
because I was gonna say, because the reason why I make that argument is because I feel like they specifically called Phase 2 of the High Republic the Frontier era, almost. So I feel like that it would be mid-rim.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
Do you think that because they mentioned the supervisor now in every episode, and as I was watching this last episode and I rewatched the other ones again, the security droids, these patrol droids that we're seeing, they very obviously have a camera lens on them.
Yeah.
So do we think that the supervisor or whoever is watching Ad-Aten, because it looks like they're watching them not just for safety of everyone, but it's almost like they're watching them to kind of, make sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing and being where they're supposed to be. Do we think that the supervisor is someone that we know, and also, do we think that the supervisor is on Ad-Aten, or are they watching them remotely from all of those droids?
Kind of like a whole Oz situation.
I'm gonna say no and yes. Like I think no, we've never met this person before, and I do think yes, they are on Ad-Aten. I think this is a containment experiment, if that makes sense. Like I think that they are on Ad-Aten, making sure that no one gets in or out. Because they know what's
kind of
there.
like what I was saying.
Fallout.
Yeah,
Fallout. Literally Fallout.
Very Fallout. Yeah,
because it just made me think that like, if the supervisor is someone we know of or have heard of, even, it would make sense to have them kind of working remote and like being able to still do what we know that they've been doing while also kind of keeping tabs on their honeypot that is Ad-Aten,
Yeah.
So it's like, that's why I'm wondering, like, is it because for them to just continue to call it the supervisor, we haven't even been directed to where the supervisor could be, or if anyone's met him, or like, it's just very fishy and sus that They're calling it the supervisor. We haven't seen it yet, and there's just all these cameras watching. Like the architect from the Matrix almost.
Also, hi Chris. It was definitely Palpatine the whole time. It's always Palpatine. No, it is super fishy, super culty vibes, but I just have a gut feeling that this is its own thing. Like this is and maybe not its own thing, because if it's the 9 jewels of the Republic that have been hidden away in the galaxy, maybe there are 8 other planets going through the exact same thing right now. And it's going to be, how do we liberate or free these worlds and bring them back into the modern era?
To me, the fact that blows my mind about this show is apparently this entire concept of the story was pitched in 2017. So like, yes, Fallout the game existed, and yes, we've had these type of concepts before, but the fact that like this like predates the show, it's kind of crazy that like we kind of had like this similar ideas almost coming back out like back to back with 2 major franchises of like capitalist kind of world taking advantage of stuff, including everyone else from the rest of society.
Yeah. And I think they're doing it really well. I think a lot of the stuff that they've been doing and keeping it intriguing, keeping it mysterious, is really well done. I like the scene. It was a very short scene, but the scene with the parents on
that was
Aladdin,
fantastic.
Where the security droids are basically like, yeah, there's nothing we can do. Hello, Sabine.
Yeah, and also I said this in a chat's live when it was after the episode. He does like these weekly lives, and I was like, I'm still very suspicious of Fern's mom, because everyone else in that group is data analysts, and she's an administrator, and she was the one that was pitching these career ideas to the kids in the school. So it's like, I feel like if anyone was going to be in the know, because I feel like if they're going to do this whole twist of like, and like capitalists, I think they would position one of the parents to be in the loop. And I think it would be, if it was going to be anyone, it would be Fern's mom.
Yeah, I think she's just a larger cog in a much more complex machine. That like she's meant to feel like she's got the know about everything, but she doesn't.
Yeah, I get that vibe too, where it's like she's just doing a job, and this is kind of taking her by surprise too. Like I just don't think she knows very much.
If she had
I think everything's just a facade for everybody. Yeah. So I think they don't know that they're part of a hidden planet, I don't think.
If Fern had another parent, I would be more likely to believe that, because that's all she has. I don't think they're going to take that away from Fern. Like there needs to be that Goonies happy ending at the end of this where the kids come back to their parents. They and maybe it's not on AT-AT, and maybe it's in another Republic world. Maybe they go to Coruscant, who knows? But I think that Fern will have that. All the kids will need to have their happy ending.
Fern's dad is the supervisor.
That to me makes more sense.
Yeah, to me, because I feel like they have to kind of put someone in there that is already kind of in the loop to pull the rug out from underneath us.
Not Fern's dad, Wim's mom.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because to me, Wim's dad is going to be kind of the go-getter of the parents. Because we already had that shot when everyone's kind of freaking out. Like he's going to be the one that kind of puts everything together.
He's the one that we've gotten, to be more familiar with. So yeah, I think you're 100% right on that. But yeah, like this episode was 33 minutes. So let's call it 30 minutes with credits. 29. If we count like the opening sequence and stuff like that.
Look, I caught it. It's like 6.5 to 7 minutes of credits. Because I paused it, because I always have a habit of like just making sure there's no stinger at the end. So I always fast forward it. And I paused it right when the credits roll, and it was like 6:33. So it was almost 7 minutes on the back end.
So here's what I like about this episode. And this goes back to The Acolyte. It goes back to, I think, a lot of the discourse around TV shows these days, is this episode got us off of Port Borgo onto that moon. We got to understand more about Jod. We got to understand more about the situation on Ad-Atten. We got to see a lot of action. You know, we got to figure out more about who Jod is. We figured out he's Silvo. All of this was done, paced super well in less than 30 minutes. And I think this is a testament that it does not matter how long the episode is. The episode can be 15 minutes long, as long as that 15 minutes is packed full of engaging and enticing content. That's all that matters. And like this episode like solidified that point for me, because like a lot of people who want that Star Trek Next Generation 28 episodes, 45 minutes each, I'm like, sure, that's cool. Like I'm going through Babylon 5 right now, and it's the same thing. It's 5 seasons, 22 episodes each. Each episode is 45 minutes. And it's like, it's a lot of content. It's a lot to unpack. And there's a benefit to that. Obviously, it's incredibly fleshed out stories, but there's also a lot, like I'm like 8 episodes into season 1. I'm like, we've already had a couple filler episodes where it's like, I'm sure it might come back later, but like, I think the way they paced this episode was super well.
And I 100% agree with you, because I remember saying a lot of these times with these shorter episodes on Disney Plus that I tend to like is I think in the streaming climate, I'm kind of tired of like, because cable, I feel like I agree, had like this like problem of having episode minimum, like, oh, it needs to be minimum, like you said about like 45 minutes, right? Like because with commercials about an hour, right? It was just say 45 minutes minimum.
Yeah, it's got a lot of an hour block on the television schedule.
Yeah, a lot of times they would like add in stuff just to kind of like inflate the episode. And I feel like with the Disney Plus shows, the ones that do really well with the short lengths, I think they go to how long they need. They just keep it to like, we're going to keep it to what this episode kind of needs to tell. We're not going to overinflate stuff. We're not going to underinflate it. We're just going to keep it to what it needs.
Yeah, but I mean, the other thing to keep in mind when you look at something like Game of Thrones, you look at Fallout, you look at these Star Wars shows, like these are movie productions. These are like when we get to if you look at something like Andor, even if you look at something like The Acolyte, like that's 2, almost 3 movies worth of content. Like, and it is hilarious, like watching Babylon 5, and it's just like the production quality is just rock bottom. It's like, it's a great story. There's great characters. You look at like Star Trek Next Generation, like these are plywood sets that are painted, and there's lots of paper mache everywhere. And it's just one of those things, like these episodes probably cost not that much to make each episode, and now just the special effects, like when we're talking about the moon, like with the effect on the gas giant in the back, like that alone is, how much do you think that costs? An insane amount. You got to pay the CG artist to make that moon, and the lighting artist, and all of that.
I mean, what it's into on TikTok this week about like Neil apparently is an insane amount of work.
Yeah,
like he's practical.
He's
so it's
there.
Like,
he's there. The kid is there on set with them doing that, and they have like, he's got the face rig, and all of that, and like the CG and the prosthetics combined, like it's insane. And it's like, hey, props to him. It looks great. It really, really does. But like, I think it's one of those things, like I don't think we'll ever go back, because I think the moment we get a Star Wars or a Last of Us or a Star Trek or a Fallout, whatever it is, right? Imagine getting a show today that looks cheap. Like it looks the way that shows used to look. No one will watch it. No one's going to watch it.
Yeah. I agree with your overall premise on it doesn't matter how long the episodes are. But I am selfish and greedy, and I want as much as I can get.
I get that.
I agree with your point that it's like if it's 15 minutes long, but it was an amazing episode, that's not going to matter. I just want to escape into that world for as long as I can. And for me, 15 minutes isn't enough. I want like at least 45 minutes. Like that first episode was like, should be par for the course, in my opinion. But again, I agree with your overall point.
I totally get that, because like, let's say we get Rogue Squadron, the next 2 to 3 years, whether it's a movie or a show, like I'm gonna want more. If it's a 2-hour movie, I'm gonna want a 3-hour movie. If it's a 10 episode season, I'm gonna want 15. But I do think like you get, because I have a draft in my TikTok. It's someone talking about what they want, like what they want their next, and like dead serious what they want their next Star Wars movie to be is a 2-hour movie set in the Clone Wars. And like basically they say like because of the flashback we got in Ahsoka, and like I would just want one more mission with Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan, and like I've got the draft. It's not finished yet, but I'm just like, you got 7 seasons, 26 episodes each, or 22 episodes each. It's 66. Funnily enough, 66 hours of content.
Yeah,
in the Clone Wars, not including the movie, not including all the other stuff that ties back to the Clone Wars, like the fact that Rebels has arcs that tie back to the Clone Wars, the fact that Ahsoka, the show, exists, the fact that the Mandalorian has stuff that ties back to the Clone Wars. And I'm like,
Kenobi.
While I agree with you, chat, like there is with something like the Skeleton Crew, because it's new, something like the Acolyte, it's new. For sure, like I have Sean
Hot potato.
Yeah, like these stories I'd love to get a little bit more fleshed out and a little bit more in there. Like I agree with that, but like there does come a point where I'm just like, is it story for story's sake, or is it because this is the story someone wants to tell?
Yeah, I have so many people that I know of that are just, they are clamoring for a Vader movie, and I'm like,
why?
Man, I am the biggest Anakin Vader stan you'll ever meet in your life, right? But like, he has had 9 movies essentially, and an Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and comics, and like, we don't need any more Vader.
He's had
like
had episodes in just about every
Would I watch it?
show.
Mostly,
yes.
An entire 7-season show.
He's shown up in all of the video games. Like,
yep.
It's like
he is the Mickey Mouse of Star Wars, even though Mickey Mouse is now the Mickey Mouse of Star Wars.
I think the response for people who want a Vader movie is like, well, you're in luck because there's 3.
Right. At least.
I would say I would reply back in your response. There are 6.
There are 6.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we're thinking just Vader, you should watch episode 4, 5, and 6. I think you'll really like them. But yeah, no, like I can't think of much in this episode. And Sean, since you're back, like what were some of the highlights of this episode for you? We'll kick it off with you and then kind of round table it.
I really loved Kim. It's a really cool character design.
Kim was
like
great.
Part owl, part cat kind of thing. Kind of remind me also of like another owl species in Star Wars, the ones from Resistance.
Yeah.
They were more like super long leg guys, but I really like that character design. Really love to know more about her. She could totally be besties with Maz Kanata for sure. And yeah, I want to see what her kind of like end game is, what her connection to like the New Republic, or just like her what her circle is and who she's affiliated with. And yeah, I love the kids kind of pressing Jod, making sure he knows that they're the boss and not him. What else? Yeah, and I just like, I love how the mystery is unfolding so far.
Luke, what was your favorite part? Favorite parts, I should say, of episode 3.
Favorite parts? I liked the heist, like them trying to get out. It felt very Star Wars-y to me. The nods to the original trilogy throughout like the first 3 episodes has been pretty awesome to see as well. But yeah, the interactions, Neil, obviously, love that. Love him.
Oh boy.
Neil flying the Onyx Cinder was great.
Yeah,
just wiggle it. Just wiggle it a little bit.
Yeah.
I wish they didn't put that in the trailer. Like that was such a funny moment.
Yeah, Neil is a standout to me. But like all of the actors are knocking it out of the park. They are so genuine. They look like they are having fun, not only on screen but behind the scenes, talking about the show. Like I said, I think the best thing about the show right now, or my favorite part about it, is just that everybody seems to really be enjoying it. And I think it's really something that the community needed at this current time, I think.
Yeah. I think that because the show doesn't have anything that can be misinterpreted as like lore breaking, et cetera, like the typical bad actors are just staying quiet. And I think there's a lot of people who realize that like maybe this show's not for me, and maybe that's okay. Which is like a huge step forward for the fandom. You know, do I think it's gonna last? No,
hell no,
I don't.
Just wait till Andor season 2.
I say wait till
there were
the
gay
show.
moms in this episode, and I'm surprised we haven't gotten the backlash to having gay moms.
Right.
I mean, in Young Jedi Adventures, one of the characters has 2 moms.
Ugh, how could they?
Man, that's even younger kids than Skeleton Crew.
Oh, the humanity.
Oh, no, not my Star Wars, where we have fucking aliens. Come on.
Chad, I'll pose the same thing to you. Like, what were your favorite parts of this episode?
Oh man, I loved the interaction when Jod was going back to the port to rescue Smee. Him just rifling through all the droids, and the one was like, "Oh, I've got to save the prince! I've got to save the prince!" I don't know who he was talking about, but that was funny. And then he clicks on the battle droid, and he's like, "Did we win?" Like,
yes,
that was great.
That was so great. That was so great. And then the whole interaction that Jod had with that character, I don't remember his name, but the one he was casually like, "Oh, so you're escaping, huh? Maybe I should tell Brutus what's going on."
That was Alfred Molina.
That's what I was going to say.
I was about to say that was old Doc Ock himself. That was such a good scene. It was like one shot too, like an entire one take for that entire thing. That was such a good scene. I enjoyed that. I liked Kim. I like Kim. Her name alone is great. The way it's
KH''YMM.
Right. I thought that it was so like Smee is slowly becoming my favorite character. I think SM33. Like when he was poking Jod in the chest, and just being like, "You need to be your Jedi. Leave the kids alone." Like the whole him repeating himself is funny. But when he like said, and then he hobbles off screen, and then he hobbles back on screen. He just goes, "I again," and then he hobbles off like just a random, just an extra "I." Oh, he was great. Smee's good, and the X-wing chase was amazing too. Like that was cool. That was shot wonderfully, and I thought it was so funny. Like I don't know if you all caught it, but like when they're trying to, I'm not sure if it was Wim or Fern who was turning their turret. And at the same time, they're shooting it, and like some of the blaster bolts go right past one of the engines of the Onyx Center. So it's like they almost take out part of the ship as they're shooting and trying to turn.
Yeah.
But that whole sequence was really cool. And I thought it was
totally a kid thing to do too.
Right. And I thought it was interesting at these kids. They called them, I can't remember what they called them, like goons or something. Like the goons are coming in, and like it's like they don't even know that the X-Wings are the good guys. That's how long they've been out of it. So I thought that was an interesting concept as well.
It was one of those things, and I'll say that it was maybe because I really liked the X-Wing sequence. I made a video about it the other day, and I thought it was really cool. I just love the Onyx Cinder. I think it's such a cool ship. But when the kids went in the turrets, the one thing I was like, okay, they could do something really interesting here, but I know they won't. I was like, if one of these kids shoots down an X-Wing, that means they killed someone. And that was like the first thing when because and the thing is when Jod pulls the turret ladders that were the turret sliders down. First of all, those were awesome.
Yeah.
And then the kids get in there, they're all excited. And I'm like, they're not going to shoot. They're not going to let them shoot down those X-Wings. That's not going to happen. So that was just one of those things that I was like, this is an interesting choice because like the X-Wings were using their ion blasters to try and disable the Onyx Cinder because they knew there were kids on board.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an interesting segment, and I do love still that every time the Onyx Cinder goes into hyperspace, it leaves behind a trail of dust. Like,
it's great.
It's still doing it. It's so good.
So old. It was there for
so
long.
And then Chase, obviously you just asked everyone, but what was your favorite part of the episode?
My favorite part was honestly the interaction between Jod and KB when he's trying to get her to go to sleep. Like just the conversation they had, and I really liked it. And I do feel that was setting up an interesting relationship between Jod and KB. And I think that KB being the least trusting of Jod, I think she'll become the most trusting. Like having that
Not
little
everything
moment.
in the galaxy can be calculated.
Yes, like that was sometimes you have to trust your gut. And then Kim saying he told you to trust your gut, didn't you? So like that was cool. I really like that. I did love the kind of like the homage to Force Awakens where they trying to take off from Port Borgo and they're still stuck to the fuel line.
Oh yeah.
Like I enjoyed that a lot. Like that was fun.
And just the whiplash of it.
Oh my god, the whiplash was insane.
Yeah, the show has yet to stop being fun. That like every step along the way, like it is just a good time, and I really appreciate that. But was there anything that you guys like didn't like? Because like for me, like
because I don't get a favorite part. I'm kidding.
I'm really struggling to find something that like, you know, like I could say that like, yeah, the X-Wing chase and like, yeah, just knowing like they're not going to let these kids shoot down an X-Wing, like it's just not happening. Like that's the only thing, but it's also like, it was also fun to see their reactions. And like you said, like almost shooting the ship themselves and them having kind of that Luke Skywalker happiness moment in the turret. That was great. Like I was just thinking like, and I noticed this every time, like with each episode is like, I wanted so bad to be in that Millennium Falcon turret as a kid. Like that was the coolest thing. And then seeing these kids get to do it themselves, like it's so cool to like live vicariously through them.
To be honest, there hasn't been a lot of least favorite things. I've just overall really, really, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think the dialogue's pretty good. I think the acting is superb. I think that the story, I'd say maybe the story is maybe the weakest part of it, but it's nothing that I don't like.
Yeah.
But it's given a lot of potential to be a really, really good show. And I mean, it obviously we tell you not to look at Rotten Tomato scores when things are bad, but I mean, look at the Rotten Tomato score for this. It's in the 92%. It's one of the highest rated Star Wars show on Disney Plus.
Someone did a video recently where it was like this show has 500 reviews, most of them are good. But if you look at like what the review numbers were for Acolyte, it was like 10,000 something reviews. Which are going to completely like, if most of them are negative, are completely going to overshadow anything positive said about the show.
Right. And like on the point of like what I agree with Luke, like to me, like a stand-up moment for myself was like I really like the scene with all the kids arguing about like what Jod is. Like is he even force sensitive? It kind of felt like a meta commentary on like discussions in the fandom where it's like it could be magnets, it could be a string. Like I like the standout like actor of this episode wise, obviously Jude Law, but like I feel like besides that, it was Fern's actress. I feel like she was having the most. I thought you could like feel her energy on like while filming this episode.
Yeah,
Like,
the kids are doing an incredible job. Like they really, really are. Like every single one of them. Like there's not like they're all doing good except for like all of them are doing a really, really good job. And yeah, it's funny, Sean, because I was gonna bring up that exact point of like the reviews like coming in are like no show has gotten that many reviews at its launch besides The Acolyte. But I mean, and it's weird. It is refreshing, and while I don't think that something like the Skeleton Crew will become like my favorite Star Wars show, I really like it, and it's definitely crawling up there. But I always said that the Book of Boba Fett was the most fun Star Wars show because it just had the most fun with itself, and I really think that Skeleton Crew is gonna knock that off of its like little podium of being super fun.
So for me, it's almost like what Solo does for me.
Yeah.
He gives me the warm and fuzzies, and it's a good heist movie.
Yeah.
It's a good fun movie.
It's a good pirate story.
Fun movie.
Yeah.
It's a good fun movie. It's a good fun show. Like you're allowed to have these moments where you can enjoy something just to enjoy it.
Like I love Andor. It is like without question my favorite Star Wars show. It's like one of my favorite things in Star Wars, and part of that is the complex writing, the complex themes, the impactfulness of what is going on in each situation. But sometimes like it is a-okay to just sit back, have some popcorn, and enjoy the things going on in front of you. When like maybe the stakes are high, but they're not that crazy, and maybe nothing's taking itself super seriously. Like it is okay. And you know, every like most people say, everything in moderation. Like I don't want every Star Wars show to be like this, where it's just nonsensical fun. It's like when people were, as someone who's not a Marvel person, when people were like knocking Deadpool and Wolverine, I was like, let people have fun. Like it's a movie about having fun.
I just turn your brain off.
It's
just
okay
turn your
to do
brain
that
off and enjoy
every
it.
once in a while. Yeah.
Like it's like I just turn your brain off, man.
To me,
like that's how I was able to watch Rings of Power.
I mean,
like
to me,
don't overly get critical of that.
I mean, to me, it just shows how like, because I remember saying this when Andor was coming out, like, and people like were going back and criticizing other Disney Plus shows because it's not up to that level. But to me, it just shows like how strong of a universe we have with Star Wars, where we can have a show like Skeleton Crew, but we can also have a show like Andor, and they can coexist, and they both are fun for different reasons.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think you can have, and I think that and I know that I said this a couple episodes back of like being frustrated with people being so upset with the fandom, and what I said then 100% came true. Is the people who were like, they were quote done with Star Wars because the Acolyte, the Acolyte wasn't going to get renewed, and that they don't have faith in Disney. The people who I said that were going to come back to the Acolyte, or I'm sorry, come back to Star Wars because of Skeleton Crew, are coming back to Star Wars because of Skeleton Crew. Because like it's fun, and it's like not everything is going to make you happy, and not every decision that Lucasfilm or Disney makes is going to align with what you want. Like it was like what I said like last time is like, hey, welcome to the club. Imagine waiting like your whole life for episode 1 to come out. Like
well, think about
all right, I'll watch Fanboys again.
And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Who's to say they're not renewing? They're not renewing the Acolyte, but like, what's to say that it's not a whole new, brand new show altogether?
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
100%. It could be a show about Chimera and Plagueis. It could be something that takes place in the same time period and uses
instead
a lot of
instead of it being called the Acolyte, it's called the Sith.
Sure.
Boom.
It could be a number of things. But like it is just one of those things that like Skeleton Crew itself makes me very, very hopeful for the future of Star Wars.
Agreed, because it shows that it can go into a different genre and do it successfully without losing the Star Wars effect of it.
Yeah. And like I watched, so Hereth, Bale, and I watched Goonies like 2 weeks ago, and then I watched Goonies again with Haley because Haley had never seen the Goonies, and it was interesting watching the Goonies before watching the first 3 episodes of Skeleton Crew, and then watching the Goonies after, because I love the Goonies. It's such an incredible incredible movie. But it was one of those things that like, even like, if you look at the structure of the Goonies, it's almost very similar because it's like they set up that, Pacific Northwest living style, where it's like the kids in their houses and they're all worried they're going to lose their houses. But they're like, let's get these kids on the adventure. Like, the amount of time you spend inside, the whole point of the movie is the house is going to get torn down and they want to save it. And you spend 10 minutes inside of that house and they are off on their adventure. They're off on their bikes and they're taking off on their adventure. And the same thing happens with Skeleton Crew. We spend that first episode in Ad Aden, and they are, by the end of that first episode, they are off on their adventure. And I think that's so important. And I love seeing just we talked about last week. I love seeing the influence and the vibe that something like the Goonies has, but it's very clear they're not trying to recreate the Goonies. And Luke, like you said it perfectly, it's like they are able to explore a different genre with a different age demographic and do it successfully and have so many opportunities. Like, they could announce tomorrow that they're doing like a casino, like, kind of spy.
Like Tales of Canto Bight.
Yeah, if they did a spy thriller set in Canto Bight, I'd be like, I bet they could make that work really well.
How is Canto Bight in Outlaws?
You don't spend a lot of time. You don't spend a lot of time on it.
You spend like 15 minutes on it in the beginning, and then near the end, it's an entire mission.
Yeah, but Canto Bight looks like, because you are very much on the outskirts of Canto Bight, if that makes sense, in the beginning.
Oh, you're not in the inner city where they're.
You're not really. You do. There is a mission where you go into like a crime lord's estate, if that makes sense. So you do get some of that ritz and glamour.
You're climbing up the mountains and then escaping into the city, like in the back way, and then you're brought into a building.
It's gorgeous. Like, cool. It is. Like, I think you would genuinely like Outlaws. It's definitely worth playing.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get it for Christmas.
Nice. I need to get a PS5 because I have all this stuff digitally, and I'm like, I really want physical copies of these games. Like, I want Outlaws, Fallen Order, and Survivor on physical. I want Silent Hill 2 and Armored Core on physical. So I'm like, I need to get a PS5.
Yeah.
Hi, Nick.
Oh, hello, Nicholas.
Luke's favorite person.
No, I genuinely like.
No, making a joke. I'm making a joke because you guys have fake beef.
So where are we?
We're kind of wrapping up here. I mean, is there anything else about this episode that like you guys wanted to talk about, or something that really stuck out?
I kind of missed the the dancer chick. Like, we didn't get to see her again. Like, she kind of was there in episode 2.
The girl from episode 2.
Yeah. And then I was kind of expecting her to like maybe help them get out of there, and she never showed up. So I don't know if maybe that was
she'll show up later.
Yeah, maybe so. But yeah, I was kind of missing like seeing her kind of come around full circle.
Yeah.
Luke, what were you gonna say?
Let's get through everybody's thoughts first before. Because mine's not related to Skeleton Crew at all.
Oh no!
But yeah, I think everyone, like, what are you what are you expecting and how are you feeling? I know we kind of got the understanding how everyone feels. I think everyone's having a good time with the show, but like, what are you expecting like next week or kind of moving forward, and also just like how are you feeling about the show overall? Chad, we'll start with you.
So I'm fully expecting, as we've discussed, when it comes to Jod, I think he's going to end up telling the kids like, "Hey, we're on our way back home, but I think he is planned on making some stops along the way. And I don't know how many stops he's gonna make, but I feel like he is using them and their ship to get, things that he needs to get done. So I don't know if that's going, trying to find any of these other planets that are full of treasure, or if he's just thinking about getting to Adat and it being a treasure planet himself. But I think that that's what's going to end up sparking the betrayal of the children, and their eyes, and him having to redeem himself in some way. But I'm definitely looking forward to more Easter eggs. Like, I think that's been one of my favorite parts of the show too, is just how many crazy Easter eggs there are. Like, Chase, I don't know if you caught it or not, but did you see that the Millennium Falcon, the original like design for the Millennium Falcon, was in the episode?
No.
Yeah, it's the one where it kind of looks like the Tantive. It was just sitting out there in space,
but it's got like the Millennium Falcon cockpit in the front.
Yep, in the radar dish too. So yeah,
I don't believe you, because Disney doesn't know what that is. They don't respect the source material at all.
Right.
No, that's cool. I need to rewatch. Is it in this episode, or is it in like the?
It was this episode. Yeah.
Okay.
In Port Borgo.
Yeah.
I guess I would say for me, kind of echo what Chad said, but also kind of figuring out what Jod's other aliases were, and kind of like how he used those to get around the galaxy. Some more hijinks there. I know episode 1 kind of showed us kind of the neglectfulness of Wim's dad, and I'm hoping he's going to kind of be the parent, or the one who leads the charge to get them off of that and to find the kids.
We're gonna get that orchestral.
We've been getting so many of those shots of him like looking concerned, looking serious. So I think he's going to be the one that's going to kind of rally the other parents to track the kids down.
We're gonna get that orchestral swell when they finally get back together and hug each other. We're gonna get that very classic like 80s 90s. The kids are back safe home.
Yeah,
and I'm excited for that. It's gonna be such a sweet moment.
Then hoping to see
the
more
twin sons play in the background.
And then I would say for like myself, the thing that I would say it's more of a prediction thing than looking forward to. I feel like what is gonna happen is when they pulled the data out, I don't think they got the exact data for Adan, because like obviously she was stalling for time, but she also said like she was trying to narrow it down from 10,000 planets to 1. So I feel like what happened is they pulled the data too early, and it's not going to be accurate. So I feel like it's going to open next episode with them entering it into like the ship's chart, and they're like, shit, we pulled the data too early, and now it's going to be them trying to narrow it down. So I feel like that's going to be the stick. I think they got jumped to the wrong planet.
I think that's very likely. I think I just can't wait to see what happens.
I mean, next week
I'm really not gonna be doing. Really don't like doing theories like that anymore.
Sure.
I just like what's being given to me, and I'm gonna run with it. So, I'm just looking for the continuation of a great story.
Yeah, because next week's is the Everything Everywhere All at Once director's episode.
There we go.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I'm just excited to see how the show plays out. Kind of like same with Luke. The one thing that I would like to see a lot is I really want to know more. Like I'm just gonna go very basic, predictable answer. I just want to know more about the Onyx Cinder. Like I want to know who it belonged to. I want to.
Agreed.
I want to
a little bit of background.
Yeah, because it very much feels like it's going to be like almost a character in this show itself, and so like I think the kids aren't going to want to part with it, towards the end, right? Maybe it'll get a Razor Crest treatment and it'll explode. Who knows? But no, like I really want to know more about that ship. I want to know who that crew was that is all skeletalized inside the ship. Like, how old is this ship? Why? How long was it sitting there? Because like some of that stuff looks a little more advanced than what I would expect out of the Old Republic, but we'll see. So that's the one thing that I'm excited.
Your theory that it's Imperial era ship, I think I still believe the theory that because when they asked me about it when they pulled him up, he's like, I don't remember N. So I feel like
he doesn't know what it is.
I feel like when he crash landed, I think the supervisor wiped his memory of the planet. So I think there's more of a conspiracy theory with that.
We'll see.
Well, I also something interesting that I heard. I can't remember who I heard say it, but I had also thought of this. Like when he talks about what was the planet in Andor?
Aldani.
Yeah,
Aldani.
Aldani. So he called it a bog infested or a bog filled planet. So someone had said, like, could he have been talking about it before it had evolved into life? And that's how old Smee is. Like,
Yeah.
that he knew of Adelon before it was even filled with life. Because a lot of people are saying it's post Empire and maybe either it's bog filled because it was destroyed by the Empire. But what if it was like before life was there and it was like a bog, like primordial planet
before like terraforming or something happened?
Right.
Yeah. That's possible.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of this stuff is going to be interesting to just unravel because like it's 12 episodes. Is that right?
8.
Yep. Or 8.
8.
Okay. We're talking about Skeleton Crew? Yeah, 8.
Skeleton Crew. Okay. Yeah. Which I think for the way that the pacing is going, and I think the story that they're trying to tell, I think that works fine. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm kind of when we did like our trailer reaction, I was like, I don't know how I don't know if I'm gonna love the show, and I'm starting to love the show. I definitely want to see where it goes first, but like I was hoping to be pleasantly surprised by the show, and I am very pleasantly surprised by the show.
Yep, agreed.
Does anyone have any other final thoughts on Skeleton Crew?
Is the
episode
is the Onyx Cinder haunted? Because like when he pulls out the knife from that skeleton, you hear this like this voice like after he pulls it out and it drops to the ground. Now, I don't think there's other than Force Ghosts, I don't believe in spirits. Like
I'm going to say that's atmospheric, but it would be, they could do something with like hollow projections and stuff like that, where they can make it feel haunted. And so no one would ever want to get in the ship again. Because that being said, ghosts do exist in Star Wars.
Yes.
There are ghosts in the Ordell cluster. Like it is a nebulous gas cloud that is technically haunted. They have a like sciencey explanation for it. But there are the Ordell cluster is something that like people haven't fully understood yet, and it is essentially ghosts.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So anything's possible. But yeah, I think unless Luke, you had something else you wanted to chat about.
Who's gonna go see War of the Rohirrim tomorrow?
I will be going. I probably won't be going tomorrow. When did you want to talk about War of the Rohirrim this weekend?
Possibly.
Okay.
Let me get back to you on that. Maybe.
Yeah, get back to me on that.
Live on Saturday night, maybe.
Okay.
Possibly.
Because I could. I'll see what I can do. But yeah, I do want to go see War of the Rohirrim. It looks really good.
Yeah. Yep.
I want that popcorn bucket.
Yes. Same. I'm gonna see if AMC has them. If they don't, then I will
in it.
Absolutely not. Because then all I have to do is put popcorn in it, and I can go. I can just give her the hammer.
I only want suggestive popcorn buckets from here on out.
But Chase, didn't you say for like you wanted to get the Alien one and then it sold out because you had to pre-order or something stupid?
Yeah, all of them. Like Terrifier did one as well. I got the Terrifier collector's cup, but like their popcorn bucket sold out. Like, and that's like kind of the annoying thing about it is like everything's so prepay now.
I got something to show you then, real quick.
Oh, is it the Dune popcorn?
No, it's not the Dunassi.
Is it it's the Wolverine one?
Dunassi? You mean the Dunassi?
Yeah.
Shy Halussi. Oh, come on.
Haha. Suck it.
Oh, that's cool. I'm debating
ASMR.
on getting the VHS because that thing's cool.
Oh yeah, that was
It
awesome.
does look pretty rad.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting the VHS.
It lights up green, but I don't know how to get it to light up. I think mine needs batteries.
Yeah.
But
cool.
Get you ready to
anyway,
wrap up, Chase?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
that'll.
look, there it goes.
Oh, look at that.
I just tossed it on the floor. I think it's like the batteries aren't connected very well. There we go.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think that'll do it. Let's go counterclockwise. Sean, where can we find you on the internet? What do you got going on? What do you got coming up? And all that jazz.
Yeah. Most platforms you can find me at obi.sean_Kenobi on here, Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok. What's coming up? Not too much planned Star Wars wise. I am working on a Qui-Gon Jinn cosplay for Star Wars Celebration. So if you guys are going to Japan, I will see you there. But I just got a Qui-Gon saber from Master Allen at Level Up. So I'll be unboxing that soon. Probably do some videos with that, and then hopefully have a cosplay for you guys here in the next month or two.
There you go.
Yeah. Right, Chad.
Been growing the hair out.
There you go.
There you go. The Wolf of Low Street on TikTok, Blue Sky. I do have a YouTube channel with that name, but I don't have anything on it currently. I have a feeling if and when TikTok does go down on the 16th, I'll probably will be moving more of my like little shorts and videos over to YouTube. But yeah, currently The Wolf of Low Street on Blue Sky and TikTok.
Nice. Hereth, you're up.
Yes. I am up. Okay. Well, you can find me at Hereth Productions on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. And of course, you can find me here at the Pod Ones podcast each week to talk about Skeleton Crew. Now, Mr. Eggman, you're up after not being here for a couple weeks.
All right. You guys can follow me at the Jedi Master Eggs on all social medias. You can follow us at the Pod Ones on all social medias as well. Possibly check us out Saturday night talking about War of the Rohirrim. Hint, hint. Hereth, go watch the movie. Hint, hint. Chase, go watch the movie.
You don't have to hint me. I'm gonna go watch it.
I would highly suggest it. It's a lot of people in the Tolkien community are really excited about it. And yeah.
Also, Sean mentioned level up lightsabers. I think there's something interesting.
Oh yeah.
We're
getting Alanis and I, if you guys didn't know, we're getting married soon. And Alan is going to, thank you so much, appreciate it. Alan has generously come up with the idea of every $15 spent, with every purchase, $15 gets donated to Alanis and I. And if you guys feel like you would like to do that, more than happy to let you do that. You don't have to. Just it's a fun little gesture that Master Allen has done. And once we get our lightsabers, you'll get to see the Flame of the West and the Dissonance. Don't know when that's happening, but we'll probably make a video for that as well.
And he is running a sale through the 16th.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chase, where can we find you with Snoop Dogg in the background?
Snoop Dogg is performing at the Game Awards. I'll be at the Game Awards next year. No, that's not true. Pecora did not win influencer. Queso won best influencer. This has been a super anime heavy Game Awards, by the way. No, you could find me at Forward Into the Black on basically all social media platforms. I am currently scripting probably my first YouTube video now, covering Star Citizen. But yeah, I'm scripting that out right now. It will probably start out as a faceless YouTube type deal, just kind of footage of Star Citizen, talking over that footage. But I'll kind of like with what Chaz said, I'll probably start bringing a lot of my TikToks over to YouTube. As much as I love how unhinged Instagram Reels is, I really don't think the type of content that I actually want to make would do well on Instagram. So until we have a solution for TikTok, if it stays, if it goes, who knows? YouTube will probably be my primary source. And yeah, that's I think that's about it. That's Skeleton Crew, guys. I'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.